fall. Shoulder to shoulder, all for one, we keep holding each other. One for all, and no gender or faith, we are one. Everybody will get peace of mind. Shoulder to shoulder, all for one.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Benson Ogbe. I'm your host on the Plateau Interfaith Youth Debate. Tonight's topic, Nigeria's national security challenge, is unemployment and not terrorism. It is clear that young people have made up their mind to live in peace on the Plateau. Today I have two teams going head to head to qualify for the semi-final. The star prize still remains a return ticket to the United Kingdom. Before I introduce the team, I want to appreciate my judges, audience here, and viewers at home. Proposing this same topic, I have on my right the Ruby team. Give it up for them. I also have opposing the Opal team. This is the time we've been waiting for. Let's put our hands together as I welcome the debaters.
Good day, impartial judges, Mr. Timekeeper, Mr. Moderator, and my highly esteemed audience. Good day all. Well, I'm here to propose this motion that says this Nigeria's national insecurity challenges as a result of unemployment and not terrorism. Well, what's this unemployment we're talking about? In simple terms, unemployment means joblessness. Talking about terrorism maybe is days of force for political aims or violence in order to force the government to act on particular issues. Now, looking at this Nigerian situation today, insecurities we're talking about, there are a lot of them. We talk about violences, the bomb blasts we see in the crisis in Jos, a lot of them. Most recently, if you can remember the talk, apart from the Boko Haram issue, let's talk about the amnesty in the Niger Delta. Previously, Niger Delta was very, very troublesome, causing problems for us in this country. But what was the aftermath after the amnesty offered to them by the government? Of course, Niger Delta is as peaceful as ever. Maybe because their joblessness have been reduced or otherwise. But for sure, I know, at least the rate of unemployment there has reduced. And now we are having peace, relative peace and tranquility in the Niger Delta. Well, I once heard a story of this man. This man, his wife left him because he lost a job. He has 3 children to cater for. How painful can that be? He came back, 3 of his children were sent out of school. He doesn't have money to pay. And one of his child, which he loved so much, was lying dead on the bed, sick. Up and down, he searched nowhere to get money to take care of his family. Before you know it, in fact, everything was just up. It was not moving well for him. One day he came after a long search and was weeping, crying by his door. He couldn't enter because he doesn't know how to go and face the anguish and the bitterness in these eyes of his young child, telling him he doesn't have what to give him to eat or take him to the hospital. Before we know it, we heard the next day that his friend introduced him to something, and we watched on TV that he was given 15,000 naira to put a bomb in a place of gathering. Are you surprised to hear that this man collected the offer? Of course you won't be surprised, because the devastation and the problems that he has in his home, oh my God, he can't forsake them for just 15,000 naira. A lot of Nigerian people are going into this, in fact, they are involved in this, in fact, even worse situation than this man. How do you expect these people to say no to an offer of 5,000-10,000 naira to go and bomb somewhere or to go and do something that is not right? This is what unemployment can do, my people. It is a very devastating situation. We're talking of terrorism. Terrorism on its own might be or might not be. But one thing we know is that unemployment is the wheel on which terrorism is driving on. Because if these people are well equipped and having jobs to take care of themselves, do you think they will go and take peanuts for this kind of thing? Actually, they say life is not worth living. So why, in fact, let me go and die. This is what joblessness can do. I like to make you understand that, in fact, unemployment is what brings about poverty. Poverty is what brings about crimes. And crimes, in fact, even terrorism is part of the crimes we're talking about today. I conclude by saying this statement I like so much. It said, if you want to make him poor, go and kill the geese, the gold-laying geese. Because if you keep stealing the golden eggs, that geese will still lay more. What I'm trying to say is that if you are trying to sabotage the interest, we are trying to sabotage insecurity in our society, let's go and tackle the mother of them all, which is unemployment. Unemployment. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, judges, audience, and my co-debaters. I'm a member of Upper Team. The topic before me is Nigerian national security is unemployment, not terrorism. I'm opposing that it is unemployment. In the first place, what is terrorism? Terrorism has been defined according to Professor of History, Professor Gladibolina, in 2010, that it is the use of force or violence or the threat of violence or non-violence for a specific aim and objective. Then what is national security challenge? National security challenge has been defined to be the inability of the security agency to protect life and property. And permit me to borrow the word of Obama, who says that as a result of security mix-up. Now, let me give you points that when we are talking about national security challenge, it has never in the history of the country or internationally linked to unemployment. For example, according to the National Security Advisor, General Andrew Azazi, having considered all the factors responsible for our national security challenges, he came up and said, what we need to do now is that there is a need for government to upgrade a modern technological device in order to guarantee our national security. He didn't mention unemployment. Permit me equally to mention one of the stakeholders in the employment industry, the president of Nigerian Labour Congress, in a press release in January, he said, we hereby call on government to overhaul all the security network in order to ensure that the success of terrorism in this country is checked, because they have been successful as a result of what? Mix up in our security network. Internationally, when you look, when United States was attacked, the United States president does not link does not link national security challenge to unemployment, because there are quite a number of high level of unemployment in the United States. But they come up with what? With overhauling their security challenges, despite the fact that they have high number of unemployment. When you look at it, the high number of people arrested in Kanu, they were below the age of unemployment. And most of them are not even Nigerians. So if you feel that because of and when you look at unemployment, national security challenge, it has to be like a two sides of a coin. The internal aspect and the external aspect. If you guarantee the employment of the people, how about the people who have been coming from the border? That is why the federal government ordered that our border should be closed. Because they have realized that no matter the level of employment you give to people, there is still that threat from the border. And that is the reason why all these stakeholders have never in any way linked national security challenge to unemployment, but to terrorism. Likewise, you will agree with me that today, there is never in the history of Nigeria, I don't know if my opponent, if they can tell us any of the arrested terror member, is there any of them that have confessed that I was into terrorism because I have no job? It is barbaric for you to say because you have no job, to start killing people. Do I need to tell you that people are burning places of worship? Is that not a type of religious terrorism? People who are burning high-neck offices, burning political secretariats as a result of what? Political terrorism. At this junction, I'm sure you are convinced that in any way, internationally or nationally, terrorism has always been linked to national security challenges. Thank you for listening.
Distinguished panel of judges, my colleagues, our keen observers, good day, and I'm Shamsuddin. Unemployment is the issue when we are talking about national security challenging and not terrorism. Let's look at these two statements. A hungry man, they say, is an angry man. And you will quite agree with me that hunger kills more than terrorism. Also, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. You better understand all this. Now, let's look at this point. We are talking about unemployment in Nigeria is the cause of all the insecurity challenges we have because of lack of equity and justice in governance. Unemployment has led into this issue that brought about unemployment, and then people and young people are not employed and they become so devastating and frustrated. Now, we can also look at this point. If all the 3 tiers of government will adequately moved, worked justly, and good administration, we are going to have a very good number of opportunity for employment, and then we are going to have jobs. Those people who are busy going into the issue of terrorism is just because they don't have job. Now, you have to look at this point again. Budget in Nigeria is being done conventionally, but unfortunately the budget money is spent unconventionally on misplaced priorities. That equally gives the leaders to be stealing money, and they are parading with proud the ill-gotten money they have, and it thereby give the youths the opportunity to be angry and frustrated because they have no job and these people are busy looting our money. Therefore, what do the youths do? They resort into stealing, armed robbery in the banks, on the street, and also going into conflicts and considering it as a means of survival. So you will agree with me, it's unemployment that brought about the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Secondly, we look about hunger, starvation, corruption, and thuggery. All unemployment is the cause of these issues. When we say there is unemployment, it means there is no social security. Without no social security, it means there will be no job opportunities, and then people will be having anarchy, confusion, galore, and then it will lead to the issue of insecurity. In Nigeria, my people, we are too rich to be poor, but we are making ourselves poor anyway. Until the unemployed youths in Nigeria are employed. Otherwise, Nigeria is not going to stop having insecurity, and it will not be over. Thank you for listening.
James Nandagwapnen is the name. Unemployment because of our national insecurity. But we've had unemployment for long. Nigeria, we've had unemployment for decades before now. It's not something that just came up yesterday. Why is it that it is at this material time that our security is challenged? We've been unemployed. It didn't just happen today. And come, think of it. We know what your problem and what you're looking for by how you present your case and the solution you're looking for. For heaven's sake, if your problem is work, it will be we want work. You get that? It should be we want work. Not we don't want secular education. Not we want some kind of Sharia. It should be we want jobs. I'm an economist, at least in the making, and I'm rational. That means I attend to the issues of my life based on which one is more pressing, based on which one needs my attention urgently, and which one is going to cause me more harm when I don't attend to it. And I think Nigerian government is like me. Nigerian government has been able to realize what is the problem, what is really eating us. So it's taking out measures now to nip it at the bud. 921 billion naira was allocated to the security sector, the largest ever. There have been calls for counter-terrorist units. The National Assembly has passed in June 2011 into law the anti-terrorism bill. For heaven's sake, we are not blind to see. Are all those officials in government too daft to realize that if they provide jobs, the situation will come, that they are spending so much to put our security in top grade? See, if you are rich enough to buy a bomb, it's not hunger that took you to the streets. If you have the skills and the energy to designate bombs and to cause terror, you have employable skills. You can work. It's high time we realize that the unemployment in Nigeria is in fact a very fertile ground for entrepreneurial activities, for innovations to strive. It is not excusable. Go and watch the graphic videos of this bomb blast and tell me that someone will do that because he doesn't have a job. You can't justify it. It's not right, and it's not right. We can't just excuse it. It's just because some people have it in mind to cause terror. You don't blame the rains for not falling when your roof was burning. Fire got to your roofs. That's the problem. You allowed fire reach your roof. It's not that the rains will fall in their time. Nigeria has national security challenge because terrorism has arisen. Not that we are unemployed. Let's give it a second thought. Thank you.
My fellow audience, I am still back again, and humbly I disagree with the submission of my opponents as terrorism is the cause of insecurity in Nigeria. I still remain on the point unemployment is the issue. Now we have said this issue of unemployment is the genesis that even gave birth to the issue of terrorism. Of course, you will agree with me. Those our leaders that have been parading ill-gotten wealth. Now, just after the general election last year, I think the EFCC have taken one public figure into the court, which they arraigned him for about corruption charges about 54 billion naira. Now, if you would have 54 billion naira, one person accumulating it, and here we have people sitting without job. Let's do a little calculation. 1 billion naira, if you take 1 billion, you spend 33,000 every day. You are going to spend 1 billion naira in 84 years. Yet, we have one person within some few days have 54 billion, and yet there are so many millions Nigerians, and inclusive graduate, unemployed. Now, my co-debater, of course, really has said, my opponent has mentioned that a large portion of money has been budgeted for security. My dear, of course, you should know that some of this failure of the security operatives, they make this budget to also have some money to depend on something. That is the way they loot our money, not creating job to our society. So therefore, you will humbly agree with me, is unemployment the cause of our problem, because that is what lead even into terrorism, because of hunger, because of starvation, because of whatever you have corruption. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I said our judges are not partial. They will give us impartial judgment, please. He brought the case of the Niger Delta, and he said maybe it is due to unemployment. It has not been proven. That shows he is not even certain. It is because of unemployment. He brought the very sympathetic case of the man who, because he didn't have work, had to collect 15,000 to designate a bomb. Workers do. The cases we've had in Nigeria, most of them are not unemployed. Most of them are students like you and I. He said, an idle man is a devil's workshop, and a hungry man is an angry man. But our hunger has taught us in Nigeria to be wise and industrious. That's why we are one of the most industrious nations on earth. We do not correct a wrong with a wrong. One wrong thing will not correct another. The fact that jobs are not there, terrorism will not solve that. So how are we going to address it? Will killing someone give you the job you're looking for? Will it make your standard of living better? You can't justify it. It's come to stay that our challenge is because some people are out to cause terror. And as it is, the only solution is to say no to that and put no to that. Thank
you. Now it's now time for our audience to cast their votes as I take comments from our judges.
All right, well done both teams. For Team Ruby, I actually like the panache of the lead speaker, but I think it only made me expect more from you, which I did not get. I don't think you fully interrogated the issue, which is on national security challenges, unemployment, and terrorism. And you did not give us, very clear definitions of the key terms as far as that topic is concerned. You stayed on the periphery, and I was expecting to see more on that topic. Now, for Team Opal, for your lead speaker, I must say that you did a very good job with looking at what the real issues actually were. You did a profound interrogation of what the issues were, and I like the external dimension you brought into it. But I had a couple of challenges with your pronunciation, some of your languages. I had a couple of challenges with that, which I think you want to work on if you move into the next round. For the supporting speaker for Ruby, you were a gentleman. You actually laid the point out gently. I think you actually, I like that saying that budget is done conventionally but spent unconventionally. You were able to link up some of your points well. I think you saved your team. If that happens at the end of the day anyway, I'll say that you carried the day for your team. And finally for Team Opal, I think you wanted to say detonate a bomb, not designate a bomb. I think that's the language you wanted to use that kept recurring. I like the fact that you did a very good rebuttal. You looked at what the issues were and you went headlong to actually say, no, those were not the issues, and you laid the premise for what the real issues were.
You were not, both teams, especially for the supporting speakers, you didn't really say whether you were proposing or opposing, because you don't just have the viewers here, but also, or the audience here, but also viewers at home. So you need to maybe work on it next time.
From the proposing side, when you are debating, you don't use phrases like I think, maybe. You are trying to convince the audience or the judges that that where you are standing is the right place. You don't use phrases like I think or maybe. In case if you are going to the next round, you have to avoid those phrases.
Wow, the result is out and a winner has emerged, and I have the singular privilege to announce who the winner is. Let me remind you, whoever wins this contest qualifies automatically to the semi-final. Before I announce the result, let me welcome the proposing team as they take their place here. And also the opposing team. When they brought the result, I was told that the difference is just about 2 point something. In other words, it was a keenly contested battle. So, whoever the winner is, you must know that you won just with a slim margin. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home, I present to you the winner of this episode of the Plateau Interfaith Youth Debate. And the winner is the Opal team! Congratulations. Congratulations. We are closer to the semi-final. All the winners have emerged. London is closer. Before I close tonight, I want to appreciate our judges for a job well done, and also to our audience here and viewers at home. Let me remind you at home, you can post your comments on our Facebook page and send an SMS to us to show to us how you are enjoying this program. Until we come your way again in the next episode, always remember, peace is possible on the Plateau. Good night, Plateau State.
Shoulder to shoulder, all for one. We keep holding each other, one for all, and no gender or faith. We are one. Everybody will get peace of mind. Shoulder to shoulder, all for one. We keep holding each other, one for all.